What do you long for? What do you long for? I'm sure some of us would love a nice vacation, a great getaway, maybe a little adventure. Maybe some of us would love a day at the beach or up in the mountains, or maybe the big city is your thing. Maybe some of us would love a little quiet time to read or take a leisurely bath. Right now, personally, I'd really like another cup of coffee. But what do you long for? What do you truly want more of in your life? There is a longing, a deep yearning that many of us have, but likely seldom discuss. Yay! Novelist Thomas Wolfe writes, "The whole conviction of my life rests upon the belief that loneliness, far from being a rare and curious phenomenon, peculiar to myself and a few other solitary people, is the central and inevitable fact of human existence. When we examine the moments, acts, and statements of all kinds of people, not only the grief and ecstasy of the greatest poets, but also the huge unhappiness of the average soul, we find, I think, that they are all suffering from the same thing. The final cause of their complaint is loneliness." So says Thomas Wolfe. It is tough sometimes having this human experience. It's a wonderful world, and it can be a wonderful life, and yet still it's a part of the human condition to feel lonely at times, perhaps frequently at certain times in our lives. Being human means that you are intelligent life in this vast and mysterious universe. And as intelligent life, you are often dwelling inside your head, lost in your own thoughts, in your amazing human brain, which is encased in your head, away from all the other human brains around you. And that's why even in a room full of people, it's possible to feel lonely. In fact, it's often the most lonely in a room full of people. When you're literally alone, it sometimes feels like solitude, which is very different from loneliness. Some of us might even long for more solitude in our lives, but no one longs to feel lonely. What we long for is for the loneliness to go away. We long for connection. What we long for is belonging. I recently watched a TED Talk on belonging. The speaker was Amelia Frank Meyer, who's an expert on child welfare. In her talk, Meyer noted that from the moment we're born, we are literally tethered to another human being. Once we lose that tether, once that umbilical cord is cut, Meyer says that we need to be claimed. We need a loving caretaker or caretakers to claim us, to make us their own, to put our needs foremost. Without that, vulnerable newborn humans literally will not make it. A loving parent or guardian must claim us. We need to belong to someone else, says Myers. It seems to me that at some point in our life, in this culture, that claim on us shifts. We hit adolescence and we feel the pressure to put a claim on ourselves. Perhaps it's an internal rebellion that we experience, or perhaps we're just trying to find a way out in society, which seems to be telling us that we need to grow up, which means that we have to take care of ourselves. But somewhere in this quest for independence and self-reliance and adult competence, when we try to move away from the claim our parent or parents or guardians have on us, we can get just a little too untethered. Now, pre-adolescent children can feel lonely too. In fact, that's pretty common. Children often feel lonely, though not every child will be able to name that. It doesn't mean that the child doesn't have a loving parent or guardian with a loving claim on them. It is just part of the human condition, even for human children. 20th century writer and social activist Dorothy Day, co-founder of the Catholic worker movement, called it the long loneliness. The antidote to the long loneliness is deep connection. And deep connection can look a lot of different ways. For those who are very skilled at meditation, whether a seated meditation or zazen that many of us picture, or whether it's moving meditation like Tai Chi or Hatha Yoga or walking meditation, it is possible to feel very connected if you are skillful at meditation, whether you experience that as connection with the divine or the universe or nature. If your meditation is deep, there can be a deep connectedness. It doesn't feel lonely, though sometimes it is done in a solitary way. Other times, deep connection looks like meaningful connection with other human beings, a deep connection, even if it comes fleetingly, with others who share this human condition. When that happens, it's magic. When that happens, it's as good as life gets. What's better than feeling deep connection with another human being? I really can't think of anything. As Dorothy Day wrote in her autobiography, we have all known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and that love comes with community. I do believe that we have a very special community here at FCU. There is a very special gathering of people here. People who are devoted to the project of creating a better and more beautiful world. That sometimes looks like helping others and helping each other to have a better human experience. At our best, we can find and create deep and meaningful connection. At our best, we put a loving claim on each other. A loving claim on each other here, within these walls, and at our very, very best, we extend that loving claim out beyond these walls, too. Earlier, we had a new member welcoming ceremony, and it was wonderful to welcome 12 new members here today. We sang a song, a hymn, at the conclusion of the new member ceremony, "Come, Come, Whoever You Are," and the hymn uses a translated poem by the great Sufi mystic Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. It's a favorite for many of us. But I have to point out something this morning. There's something that those lyrics in our hymnal omit. Do any of you know this? Do you know what it is? There's a line missing, mysteriously. The complete verse is, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again, come." You see what we did there? We left out the part about broken vows. It's kind of interesting. For me, it's important to remember this omission. It's an important reminder that this community, like any human community, isn't perfect. Those of you who are new here will learn what longtime members and friends of this congregation already know, that there will be times that this church will let you down. There will be times when you will feel let down by what was said or done here, or by what was left unsaid or undone. There will be times when someone says or does just exactly the wrong thing, even if they were well-meaning. It might even be me. I might be the one to let you down. Part of belonging, part of having a deep connection to another person or other persons involves risk. It involves the risk of making well-meaning mistakes and the risk of being the recipient of well-meaning mistakes too. Belonging doesn't look like perfection, not even close. Belonging looks like love and deep caring. It looks like striving together. It can be really messy. But we put our loving, caring, sometimes messy claim on one another. As we said earlier this morning, we will walk with you. And together we will strive to extend that claim to an ever-widening circle of beloved others, some of whom will never worship among us. Ending the long loneliness isn't just about joining a community or a congregation, no matter how wonderful. Yes, Dorothy Day wrote, "We have all known the long loneliness, and we have learned that the only solution is love, and that love comes with community." But as Father Michael Rainier writes of Dorothy Day's words, the way she phrases this is interesting, because the sort of community she's talking about isn't created by making more friends or being surrounded by like-minded people. It's formed by the act of giving yourself away for the sake of others. That's how you get rid of the long loneliness, the act of giving yourself away for the sake of others. The key to overcoming loneliness is thinking less about our own needs and more about others. This, says Day, is the only solution. But it is one that all of us who struggle with loneliness will find that, even if it isn't an easy answer, it is well within our reach. This is a place to become potentially part of something bigger than yourself. This is a place to come together in gratitude for all that we have been given in this amazing and vast universe, and for the gift and sometimes the challenge of existing as an intelligent life form in this interdependent web of all existence. It's a place to remember that we are all a part of the same creation. We are all made of star stuff. And it's a place to honor those connections and those common, if mysterious, origins. You can't do the full work of connectedness in isolation. We come here each week to side with love, to grow in love. Dorothy Day loved the words of St. John of the Cross. Where there is no love, put love, and you will find love. Thank you for being part of this timeless journey of love and loving. Thank you for being part of this caravan, not of despair, but of hope. As our opening words from the Reverend Gretchen Haley put it, we offer this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, this gathering that loves, though not yet enough. We're still practicing, after all, still learning, still in need of help and partners, still becoming able to receive all this beauty and all these gifts we each bring. May we practice and learn belonging together. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.